Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Coin. Happy New Year. I'm Caroline.
Happy New Year, and I'm Kingsley.
Thanks for joining us. If you're not subscribed, we encourage you to just hit that subscribe button and subscribe to our channel. I'm sure you're going to be blessed, and we also encourage you to share with your friends and loved ones. It's the beginning of the year, and I'm sure a lot of people have New Year resolution or goals or plans that they have for this new year 2022. And Kingsley, I know you're not too much into resolutions these days, but do you have any for this year?
Oh, absolutely. So this year, what I did was I said I'm going to just have two resolutions and simple so that I can remember. Number one is be like Jesus. Yes, I know I've been trying the best I can to follow him, but this year I want to follow him even closer. Then number two is be prepared. I remembered my Boy Scout motto. In those days as a kid, I was in Boy Scout, so it just came back again to me. So you know what, Kingsley, last year some of the things that you did, you were not fully prepared for them. Maybe this would be a good resolution. So I said, okay, I'm gonna be prepared. Be like Jesus, number one. Be prepared, number two, so that I can hit it out of the park.
Excellent. I'm just kind of like a lot of people out there that have this New Year resolution to kind of lose weight. My goal really is to lose some of the holiday pounds that I've gained. I'm blaming everything on the holiday right now. So that's my goal. I want to lose some of those weight. And most importantly, I also have this goal to just see Jesus more clearly.
That's good.
I'm just reminded of that song that says, see Jesus more clearly, so you love him more dearly and follow him more nearly. And so this year, there's been so much misinformation out there, misconception for a lot of people. So I hope you can join me so that we can explore in seeing Jesus more clearly. Because when we know him, we will love him. When Jesus is presented to you as the way he came and wants to be presented, we cannot help but fall in love with him.
Absolutely.
And so, I was reminded even this week of misinformation and not receiving what is intended for me for good. A couple months ago, I received a letter from my dental provider that I was owing my dentist. They're like, we didn't cover all the bills that you incurred for my son to have his braces done. And I'm like, oh no, we've paid so much out of pocket already. Why am I going to pay so much? I'm just going to ignore this letter. If the dentist doesn't reach out to me, I'm just going to act like I never received it. And that's what we did. And then a couple weeks ago, and I got a call from my dentist, and I thought, oh yeah, here they come. And I was so ready to argue and not pay that bill, that they were going to tell me I was owing. And so the guy, was talking about some amount, that I got from the work that my son had done. And I was there making a case that, hey, I already paid a lot. Yes, I got this letter from my dental provider. I don't think I should pay it. I don't know what's going on. And then he now try to get my attention and say, don't you want your money back? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, I'm trying to give you a refund that your dentist provider actually gave us more than we thought they were going to cover. Yeah, my insurance provider, actually gave us more than they thought they were going to cover. And so we want to refund some of the money that you paid. How do you want to receive it? That's what they were trying to communicate to me. But because I had this preconceived idea that it was a bill, it was a charge to my account, I had all my bristles up. I was ready to give it to them that I'm not going to pay this bill. And don't we see that happening sometimes in our relationship with one another, in our relationship with God, that we just have this preconceived idea that God is out to get us, or our spouse is trying to get us, and we're not even listening to what they're trying to communicate to us, and then we may miss out.
Absolutely.
Kingsley, I know you have a story that happened, something that occurred to you that was even bigger than the refund I was getting.
Well, that's true.
That you two almost missed out because of misconception. You want to share that with our viewers?
Yeah, but before I go into that story, I really want to dwell a little bit on what you just said about having preconceived ideas. Sometimes we don't even know that we have those preconceived ideas when we come into situations. And what it does is that it just blocks our mind from exploring other opportunities or from actually listening to the information that we're receiving. There's a lot of that going on around these days, in the sense that if you look at our politics, if you look at society, if you look at it's like even in social media, it's and like
religion.
You name it. I mean, in several areas, you see, the art of listening is dying. Or when people even listen, the art of listening to understand is also dying. Sometimes we may just block off information from coming to us because we've made up our minds. Or even when we're listening, sometimes we listen so that we can respond, not listen to understand. That happens sometimes between me and Caroline. Caroline is talking, and I'm like, okay, what would be my appropriate response to Caroline, even though I don't fully understand what she's saying. I need to take a step back, especially this year as we're coming in, to pay more attention to listening. Yeah, if we take it one step further, that can even determine our ultimate destiny or destination. When we talk about, I remember the people of Israel were expecting a Messiah. They knew that someday a Messiah was going to come. But in their mind, they had a different idea what that Messiah was going to look like. In their minds, they were looking for a military Messiah who will come in and help them, kick out their oppressors. So when Jesus came and he didn't meet that mold of their preconception, what did they do? They didn't listen to him. They rejected him. Bible says he came to his own, and his own rejected him. They did not receive him. Isaiah came, but because we have a preconceived notion, we couldn't receive him. So I'm saying that to say,
those of us today that are in the church, some of us go into accepting Jesus. Some of us go into that expecting something else, and then we get disappointed. What he has not promised. We see a lot of that. We see a lot of Christians. We see a lot of leaders promising people what God has not promised, and then when they don't get it, they get disillusioned or walk away from the faith.
That's true. Absolutely. There's a lot of false advertisement going on. I mean, false advertisement of Christ, or maybe will I say false Christs or Jesus Christs that are being presented to people. Why some people do that beats my imagination. But one of the things I think may be the reason why is they want to genuinely want to raise the hope of the people. But they go beyond the boundaries of what is real, beyond the boundaries of what the scriptures promised. And some intentionally wants to raise the hope of the people so that they can go for the jugular. What do I mean by that? So that they can benefit from it, so that they can tell them, okay, Jesus can do this for you, but before he does it to you, you need to come to him through me, because I got the power. I can help you do that. Meanwhile, sow this seed or give this large offering or blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot going on there. So how can we prevent this? I think it's by being intentional, by realizing that I'm not perfect. I can fall into the danger of having a preconceived notion. How about I take time to research information? I take time to not just listen to one person, because sometimes most misinformation come when we're fixated on listening to one person, and that person is telling us, don't mind every other person, just I got the right stuff for you. But if we can take a step back, like the Berean Christians, they said they listened to Paul, but they went home and they did their research. And when they did their research and their homework, then they were like, okay, maybe what you're telling us is true. And what did Paul say? Paul recommended that all the other Christians, all the other churches he was establishing should be like the Bereans. He said, don't just take my word for it. Go ahead and search the scriptures for yourself. So some work will have to be done on my side, on your side, on the side of our listeners or our viewers, to not just take things at their face value. Listen, do your research, and then before you take a position. Don't take a position first because we're seeing that a whole lot of that now. Because maybe I belong to a particular sect. I say, because my sect agrees to this thing, so I'm going to take that position, even though there are contrary evidence against what that position is. It happens in politics as well. It happens in different areas.
God himself expects us to be curious. He expects us to ask questions. And so because of that, he puts things in place for us to find answers to the questions that we may have. Before we wrap up, Kingsley, we promised our viewers that you're going to share that story of you almost missing out on something good.
That's true.
Because of your preconceived idea.
True.
Because this 2022, I don't want us to miss out on what God has for us. And so, Kingsley, would you share that story with our viewers before we wrap up?
Yeah, recently, Caroline and I, we wanted to purchase a business. And as part of the process, you will find a bank who will fund most part of the loan. So we saw this bank. We also opened escrow. there were several, when you start these things, they send you several papers to sign. So we signed all the papers, and they said, well, they told us we needed to pay a certain amount, a substantial amount, to initiate the process. And in my mind, I had concluded, okay, if this business goes through, whether it goes through or not, that money was non-refundable. So fast forward several weeks, we were going into the process. We did our due diligence in the business. At some point, we felt it wasn't the right thing for us to do at this time. I reached out to my broker. I said, well, I don't think we're going to proceed with this deal because certain things changed as we started. So the thing was that we informed the bank it was not going to happen anymore. So I got some money from the escrow company, which is standard practice. But with that of the bank, in my mind, I felt, well, that money is gone. So I set up in my mind that maybe I'll have to fight against the bank with the bank, fight in quote, to see if I can get my deposit back. So, but I never knew that there was any other way to go about that. So I just felt, well, the bank they've taken that money. I signed these papers, and that's it. So fast forward a couple weeks after that, I went to my mailbox to get our mail as I normally do. Then when you receive mail, there are some mails that are junk mails. There are some mails that okay, this is really substantive. So you go ahead and open them. Most junk mails, you just open and you tear them and send them, throw them away. So when I brought the mail in, I separated them. I said, oh, these are junk. I'm just going to trash them. But after a while, I said, you know what, Kingsley, before trashing this junk mail, why not open some and see if there's anything relevant. Then I opened the first one, and lo and behold, it was a check from that bank. The money that I never expected was going to come back, because I already had a preconceived notion that when these deals fall through, that you don't get anything back from the bank. So they refunded all of the money, So
are you sure I won't be taking care of the mail now? I don't know how much money we've lost by you just assuming everything is junk.
Oh, that would be great.
You know what I mean?
And that would be so great.
Because when I pick up mail, I don't usually do it, but the few times I pick it up, I look at every junk mail. I try to open every junk mail. Because you never know, you might just get a check.
So, that's the danger of having a preconceived notion, not taking time to, have an open mind and investigate things on your own, And I think our lives would be a whole lot better this year if we can just have that as our mode of operation. So, well, I'm gonna listen to folks. I'll be more intentional in listening. And even when I want to research things out for myself to make sure that once I make a decision, that decision is founded on facts. The decision is founded on well-tested and proven ideas. So yeah, that was my story, Caroline.
Yeah, thanks for sharing it. True. So I hope you have a great and wonderful year, and you pursue the things that God wants you to pursue.
Absolutely. So we wish you a very prosperous year. Yes, even though if you look back in the previous years, some of the things that came to you in the previous years will also come to you this year. But the way you react to them or the way you respond to them, let that be different. Let it be better. I am saying I'm going to respond to things that come to me better. I'll be prepared. I will look unto Jesus and see how Jesus will handle those issues, and then do the best I can. Yes, as someone said, it says the future. I don't know what the future holds. He said, but I know He who holds the future. So let's lay our hands, or let's tighten our grip to Him who knows the future, and that is one of the greatest ways that you can guarantee a successful outcome. So, friends, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye-bye.